Surviving together, never alone. Through every trial we carry on. Surviving together, we stand tall. United forever. Strength and courage will overcome. Oh, surviving together, victorious, and never, never alone. Hand in hand, we'll face the unknown.
We see you, we hear you, and we believe you. Hey, everyone. How you doing tonight? Welcome to Surviving Together. You have landed here with us, the SAS community, a safe place for trauma survivors to connect and build community on their healing journey, as well as providing trauma-related education for all. Who do we have here this morning? Let's get our times right. Deborah Roberts dropped in. I'm not sure if you're still here, but thank you, Deb, for being here, for dropping in. Carmel is here. Thank you. Thank you. Todd is here as well. Looks like that's all we have here for right now. That is fine. I'm sure we might have some more trickle in. Don't have any really other announcements to make. No, none whatsoever. You may see me live next time from here. You may see me live from my parents' kitchen table. Kind of depends. Going to be dog sitting, house sitting for the next week and a half. So we'll just have to see how they behave. Not feeling too good today? I'm so sorry about that, Todd. Well, maybe you'll feel better after this live. I have been feeling like crap this week, to be quite honest with you. My mood has been horrible. My pain has been up, which of course has not helped my mood. And just have not been having a very good time of it lately. And I know I'm not alone in this. Seems like everybody I talk to is having an issue of this or that, something is going on. I don't know if Mercury's in retrograde or what the situation is, but I did what any sensible person would do in this situation when I was feeling like this earlier today. I went to the store. I went to go get chocolate. Of course, right? Because chocolate makes you feel good. And I hadn't had any in quite a long time. So I thought, well, I'd treat myself. Well, something happened there. And it led me, if you guys saw my thumbnail, to change kind of at the last minute. I got the thumbnail up at the last minute. I decided earlier this afternoon that I was going to change the topic for today. So apologies if you came in for bystander intervention. I bumped that to Saturday. And some of my other stuff I'm going to either do in a special live or we'll get to it in May. So what happened? I went to the store, the gas station, to grab some chocolate because Easter candy's half off. I mean, can you get better than that? I don't think so. And I went in, I bought my chocolate. I came back out. And as I was coming out, there was a very elderly gentleman walking extremely slow behind me. And I held the door for him. Simple. I held the door for him. And he was so thankful. And he walked a little faster. And by walk, I mean he shuffled a little faster. And I'm like, take your time. It's okay. I got a few extra minutes to spare. No worries. And after I did that, I felt better. I just held the door for somebody. But I felt better. And it just got me thinking about the power of being kind. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, I think this is something that a lot of people need to hear today. So that is why I have gone and changed the topic for today. Because depending on where you look, kindness seems to be at an all-time low. Why? As human beings, are we that selfish of creatures? We're born wanting to help. Little kids want to help. And we lose it somewhere along the way. But acts of kindness can be so small that to you, they can feel almost insignificant in terms of the effort or the money you put out for it. Yet they can make us feel so good. So why don't we do it more? Why don't we do acts of kindness every single day? And maybe you do. And that's wonderful. And if you do, I bet you feel good. Because there's this thing called science that has actually proven why we feel good when we do acts of kindness. It's because our body releases oxytocin. Sorry about that, guys. My heater was on. Give me a 5x5 if you can hear me, just real quick. I'd appreciate it. I just want to make sure that my audio is working okay. I could hear the intro, so that tells me it should be working, but I want to make sure that you guys can hear me okay. Before I continue. Okay. Thanks, Carmel. Ignore my message. Why is this? Why do we feel better when we do something nice for another person? Well, it's because our body releases a chemical called oxytocin and to some degree dopamine. And these are our feel-good chemicals. These are the chemicals you get when you hug someone that you care about. And these are the types of chemicals that help produce the mother-child bond. Childbirth, women release a lot of oxytocin. So we feel better doing it. But what science has also proven is that the receiver of that kindness also gets an oxytocin boost. And they feel better. So not only are you helping yourself or helping another person when you do an act of kindness, you're helping yourself as well. And it's not just the temporary mental boost that you get. The more consistent we are with acts of kindness, and the more we give ourselves that dopamine boost, studies have shown that we can actually reduce our anxiety, reduce our depression, reduce cortisol levels. That's that stress hormone. So we're reducing our stress levels. It can reduce our blood pressure. It can reduce inflammation in our body. And I could continue to go on. There are so many benefits for kindness, for giving to others. Hey, Mike, how you doing tonight? Thanks for stopping in. Thanks. And just remind me. Chapstick. So what else can it do? What else can these little acts of kindness do for us? Well, as I stated, with that oxytocin, it increases our happiness levels, increases our overall feeling of well-being. By reducing all of that other stuff and increasing this stuff, it can actually slow cellular degeneration, which means increasing our lifespan as well. So a lot of us, if you've ever taken the ACEs study, that's the Adverse Childhood Experiences, or it's a study, but if you've ever taken the little 10-point quiz and see how many points you have, we know that suffering trauma long term could be very hazardous to our health. But these little acts of kindness can help negate that. It's amazing. Such a small thing. And I think about, how can I do this on a consistent basis? Now, I don't get out a lot. No big secret there. I work from home. Everything's really at home. If I need something from the store, my son can pick it up on his way home. It's real easy for me to stay inside. So I might have to get a little creative with my acts of kindness, or I may have to force myself to go out. I may have to force myself to go out in public, to do something nice for somebody else. Hey, Body, how you doing today? I hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us. This really interesting thing happens with acts of kindness. Not only do you feel better, not only does the receiver of your kindness feel better, but studies have now shown that people witnessing acts of kindness feel better. It actually releases oxytocin in people who just see acts of kindness. And so they're more likely to pay it forward and keep that cycle of giving and receiving going and going and going. Have you ever been in kind of a pay it forward line where somebody has paid for somebody else's groceries or their coffee in line, and watch the next person, because they got theirs paid for, pay for the person behind them? I've seen it. And the domino effect is amazing. I saw it at the gas station one time. Somebody paid for somebody else's gas. And I was in that line, and I was like, wow. And somebody just had a few items. I couldn't pay for a $50 tank of gas, but somebody was buying a Coke and, I don't know, some candy or something like that. And I'm like, you know what? Let me get that for you. You did something so nice to that person. Let me get that for you. And the person behind me got my stuff. That's absolutely amazing. And that's how we can spread kindness, by doing it. Simply by doing it. Hey, Janet. Hey, Patty. How are you both doing? I hope you're well tonight. We're talking about kindness and how easy it is to give and how beneficial it is for you as the giver, how beneficial it is for the receiver, and even beneficial to the people who are watching those acts of kindness. I spoke about that oxytocin that gets released, and they've nicknamed it, or they've created a name for it now. It's called the helper's high. Like runners get a runner's high. This is the helper's high. I thought that was kind of cute, but it's true. Beyond what I've already mentioned, acts of kindness can help foster connection, can help increase your empathy. When we do acts of kindness for others, especially people we know, we're building trust with them. That connection, that sense of belonging. that sense of being seen, of being heard. The same thing goes when it's a stranger. They see, they feel seen, they feel valued, they feel respected. Patty asked, do you think some people see acts of kindness as being weak? I wonder how we can collectively change that. Just do it, I guess. And I think that's the right answer, Patty. Just do it. Seriously, if all of us took it upon ourselves to do one little act of kindness every day for somebody else, and if studies have shown that people are more likely to do acts of kindness for others if they've had acts of kindness done for them, think about what a better world it would be. Are all our problems going to be solved? No. But I think people acting nicer to each other would sure help a whole heck of a lot. You know, there are times when I've helped somebody else, when I've given a meal to a homeless person, or I've helped carry somebody's groceries out to their car, helped them load it in their trunk. The recognition in their eyes, I don't know if recognition is the right word, but just the look in their eyes that somebody took a moment of their day to do something for them, a complete stranger. Sometimes you can just look in somebody's eyes and see that this is not something they're used to. This is not something they get very often. Be it because of the environment they live in or their lack of support system. Maybe they have nobody else in their life. Maybe it's because they don't get out very often and so they're not interacting one-on-one with somebody. I never feel more at peace with myself than when I feel like I've done something for somebody else that means so much to them. Whether it was the act itself or whether it was just the fact that I took the time, that they were seen. They felt valued in that moment, that my time was worth something to them. That's powerful. And that's why I said at the beginning, it's the power of kindness. Because just as there are power with words, our actions have a lot of power. And they can be used for good or they can be used to destroy. Hi, John. How are you? He says, small acts of kindness can make huge ripples. Absolutely. 100%. I think about sometimes when I've done something nice for somebody, or like that domino effect that I saw at the gas station, or that I've seen in drive-throughs. When I pull away, I often wonder how far back did it go? And I've wanted to stop and just go in and ask the cashier, how many people paid it forward? How long did this go on for? And if it wasn't at the drive-through, that next person who didn't pay it forward, did they pay it forward some way else? Were they somewhere else in their day? And because of what was done for them, did they do something? Because when you think about each of those people then doing something for somebody else, doing something for somebody else, the exponential factor that you can get out of that is huge. And that's why we say it can make a huge difference just in the populace at large. But of course, a huge difference for not only that person you're giving it to, but for ourselves. So I encourage everybody thinking of acts of kindness in terms of yourself. It's selfish in a way because you're getting something out of it. You're getting huge benefits out of it, mental and physical. So maybe the next time we think that we don't have that spare minute or that we can't spare that extra dollar just because we're in a hurry. I mean, if you can't spare a dollar, you can't. And that's totally valid. Even just sitting and listening to somebody, calling somebody who you know is having a hard time, just listening, even if you can't solve anything, it can make a huge difference in them. Just being able to get it off their chest. And it took a few more minutes out of your day. I guarantee you'll feel better when you hang up that phone. One of the other things that acts of kindness can do is enhance our ability to be resilient. So when things go wrong in our lives, it's easier to navigate the troubles. We seem to cope better. Why? Well, I think probably because we're just in a better place mentally. And if we can help promote that with somebody else by giving, that's significant. You know, I was listening to a lot of people talk as I was preparing this afternoon. I'm sorry, guys. Allergies are starting, which means I'm rubbing my nose. And if I was going to click off every time that happened right now, I wouldn't be on the screen. So my apologies, but this is my allergy feature. I don't get watery eyes. Sometimes I get stuffed up. My allergy feature is my nose is just, don't ask me why. It's just always been that way. But the sun has come out this afternoon and it was fairly warm today. So, and me being outside, I'm 99% it's my allergies that are acting up. Excuse me. What did you call that, Janet? You called it snow something, where all the allergens were getting released from the ground because the snow finally melted and thawed. Did you call them snow allergies? You call them something. I'd never heard of it before. I didn't know if it was a Canadian thing or not. When I was listening to different people talk about doing this, I found so many who have now really made it their life's purpose to spread acts of kindness and to show how easy it is to give and to show the benefits. One teacher started a letter writing campaign with her students. Um, Another person just decided it was their goal that for a solid year, every day they were going to make a conscious effort to do one act of kindness for a stranger. Somebody else ended up creating an organization to get the word out about spreading kindness. Good old Michigan Spring, right, John? Oh my goodness. Now both sides were itching. I apologize, guys. Tommy would have my head if he saw this. Um, it feels amazing. And every time I do it, I'm reminded of why don't I do this more? Why don't I look around the store and see if there's somebody who needs my help? I'm a little taller than average. I can reach that top shelf. Maybe somebody's struggling to get something down, or they don't know where something's located. They look lost. It could be so small and yet have such a huge impact. I have some sticky notes around my house, things that I want to remind myself of. And be kind is going to be one of them that I'm adding. And it's not because I don't think I'm a kind individual in general, but because I want to be reminded every day, have I done something kind for somebody? Have I done something kind for myself? Have I treated myself kindly? Have I spoken kindly to others? So I think that sticky note is going to go on my mirror. So it's one of the first things I see every day. Because I dislike when I do something nice for others, for another person, like I did today for that elderly gentleman. I dislike going, wow, it's amazing how something so small made me feel so good. I shouldn't have to be reminded of that by doing something again for somebody. If this all became second nature for us, what a beautiful place. What a beautiful place of those around there, around us. Hi, Shell. How you doing today? Glad to see you. Hey, Desi. What's up? Glad you're here today. Kamal says political correctness and COVID period created kind of a fear of being kind to others because of eventual ramifications. It's interesting. The political correctness, I'll give you in part because I know people sometimes are afraid to say something or, do something that might offend somebody. But I think if we do small things, if somebody's going to be offended by you offering a helping hand, well, we can't help how they react. The COVID, on another hand, is interesting because the studies that have been done to date, that I saw at least, and I'm sure there's probably studies on the other side, it's just not ones that I saw, actually think that the kindness factor increased during COVID. Maybe it was because we didn't have anything better to do. Maybe because we knew how miserable each person was. I don't know. I didn't read all the studies in depth. Sorry, I didn't have that much time, guys, this afternoon. Hey, Bobo. Eating fried zucchini and eggplant parmesan. Oh, yum. Sounds sounds very good. Wish I was at your place, Bobo. I'm just going back in the chat. Have a good piano lesson. Snow mold. That's what you said. Okay, snow mold. I was trying to explain it to my son and I couldn't think. Patty, I would agree with you, with this on the whole. She says, I think people are shocked when you do a random act of kindness, like letting someone go in front of you. They're shocked. And isn't that a sad statement? A true statement, I do believe, because people often are shocked, pleasantly surprised. Occasionally get the person who's like, yeah, they expected it, or, thanks, but no thanks, whatever. You tried. And hopefully that still makes you feel good. It should, because you did. You tried. Not everybody may receive it the best, but I think all we can do is try, give our effort. Mike says, my grandma always said it doesn't cost any money to be kind to someone. No, it doesn't. Crystal just stopping by, not up to joining. Emotional day of appointments. No worries, girl. No worries. You take care of you. Remember, your mental health always first. So there's always replay for you, okay? Hugs and love to you. Hugs and love. So I'm asking you, everybody who's here, what small act of kindness could you do that would make a difference in someone else's life? What do you think? What act of kindness have you done in the past? I want to see your examples. Hey, Dana, what's going on? Thanks for dropping in. I hope you're having a swell evening. So my act of kindness today was holding the door for somebody. Sometimes just a hello. Moving out of the way. As Patty said, letting someone in line in front of you. Give someone a smile. A lot of times that's all it takes for someone. Just give them a smile. They may have no idea what you're smiling about. But immediately, generally, they'll smile back. Some people may wonder what you're up to. Some people may be like, whatever, lady. But it cost me nothing. It was 3 seconds out of my day. And if that made that other person feel good, then great. So what about you guys? What are some things that you have done in the past? Or what are some things that you think that you could do in the future? Davey says, I don't care. I'm the crazy lady offering help. There you go. All we can do is do our best. Most people are going to take it for what it's worth. If you seem genuine, they're going to take it the right way. Davey offers cleaning or baked goods. Davey, when are you coming to Michigan? I would love to have somebody here. Oh, excuse me, guys. I'm going to have to take my allergy meds when I get off this. I'd love to have somebody offering me baked goods. I offer my parents baked goods when I bake. John says, yes, please. Carmel says, you're welcome at my place. I think you got two good examples there, Davey. Everybody's taking you up on them. Definitely. Definitely. There's those easy things that we can do just for, those people that we can run into as we're out and about. And then there's the more conscious efforts that we can do, such as volunteering somewhere. Now that could be at a assisted living facility, a soup kitchen, a veterans home, wherever. Animal shelters. There's all different kinds of places that need volunteers, especially today and in today's economy, right? As businesses are having to let people off and do more with less. I guarantee you, whoever you're doing that volunteering for, they're going to be appreciative. Carmel cooks for somebody once a week. Oh, that's great. I cook for my son about 3 times a week. And I know that may sound silly because he's my son and I'm the mom, right? But my mental breakdown took a lot out of me. And about 5 years of that time was just my son and I. And I didn't do a lot of home cooked meals during that time. I just couldn't do it. I wasn't up for it. Mentally, I could work, get the bills paid, make sure he was fed at least something that was slightly nutritious in some way, clean, and at school on time. And he did his homework. That was about as much as I could manage. So when I started feeling better, one of my main goals was to be able to cook, to be able to give that for him. And especially now that he's working full time, and he works long, long hours, like 11-hour shifts, tough work, up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning type of thing. And the last thing he wants to do when he comes home after all of that is cook. So I've really tried to manage my schedule so that I can cook for him and cook enough that he can have lunch the next day, so that he's not taking frozen meals, but he's taking the leftovers. And every time he says, "Thanks, Mom," my heart just soars because he knows what an effort it still is for me. But he's so appreciative of it. I just, it does a body good. I feel proud of myself every time I've done it. And I know that he's better for it. Kamal volunteered 5 years as a member of the school board. That's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. I've never been interested in doing that and getting more involved with the local education, beyond. I did volunteer at my son's school when he was in elementary school. But I think during the later years, I was, like I said, I was kind of struggling enough just handling home life. I didn't have a whole lot extra to give. Desi says, I gave 2 back massages impromptu to friends. Oh, I'm real good at that. Yeah. If there's somebody who is in real need of a back massage or heck, even a foot massage or whatever, I'm there. I'm there. I'm pretty good at it. Davey says I did the PTO board once and almost wanted to burn the place down. Yeah. There's some characters. I think that's probably why the school district I live in, it's not to say that there aren't nice people here, right? I just found that most of the people who volunteered were not that they were in it for themselves so necessarily, but it was definitely the to be seen, and see what good I'm doing and see how many volunteer boards I'm a part of, because you can volunteer for this or volunteer for that or volunteer. You get this whole packet at the beginning of the school year, all these different things that you can volunteer for. Wait, no, I don't think Desi's in the same city as me. Aren't you, Desi, aren't you in California? Or have I totally mistaken that? Mel says, I wasn't that interested either with the school board, but I saw the results and it made me feel really good. I bet. That's wonderful. Oh, you're south of Dallas. Okay, so you're in Texas. Got it. You're about as far away from me as possible in the US. Not quite, but you're getting there pretty close. What are some other things? Hang on, guys. I'm just going. What are some other things that we can do? Just looking at a list that I made, and I want to see how many we've already checked off. Listening to someone, baking for somebody. Running an errand for someone. Something my son does all the time. Helping carry bags. We've talked about that. Helping somebody with homework. Sharing a smile. Whether it's in person or online. Sending a thank you note. Ooh, when's the last time you sent a thank you note? An actual thank you note, written one. Probably wedding gifts, I'm guessing, for me. Otherwise, text thank you notes. I will definitely always try to do those. Davey says, I like helping old people at the checkout. Yeah, absolutely. The grocery store is a great place to help people. You see that mom struggling with 3 kids trying to also, shop or whatever. Sometimes even just making a silly face at the kids to get them to stop crying or stop fussing or something like that can make all the difference in the world. Or I say, hey, why are you giving your mom such a hard time? Or your dad, or whoever they're with. And that interaction from a stranger sometimes is kind of enough to set them straight, at least for a little while. It may only last 5 minutes, but that's 5 more minutes apiece than they would have had. Sympathy cards also. Oh, yes. Delivering food to a friend's house because they were sick with the flu, right, Shal? Absolutely. I think that, we've definitely gotten out of the habit of doing these kinds of things for others. I just think of when I was growing up, we moved a lot. I've mentioned this, and we always had the welcome wagon. Does anybody else remember the welcome wagon? Well, along with the stuff for the parents, there was always either lollipops or often a batch of chocolate chip cookies. That was the only thing I enjoyed when I was moving, is I knew that somebody would probably bring over a cake or cookies, the next door neighbor. That was always my mom thinks. Somebody moved into the neighborhood. Let's bake them something and let's bring them something to welcome them to the neighborhood. When's the last time that happened in your neighborhood? Maybe you guys still do it in your area, but I know in most of the areas that I've moved to, that's definitely become a thing of the past. Not only the welcome wagon, I mean, that kind of went a long time ago, but even just knocking on the door and introducing yourself. I was kind of amazed when we moved here. And I was like, we were here for about a week. And I'm like, we haven't met those neighbors. We haven't met those neighbors. Nobody's come over to say hi. That is just so weird to me. And we're talking, 30 years ago. Even just donating your clothes. You may not be able to see who they're going to, depending on the situation of where you donate them. Donating your clothes, donating excess housewares, whatever it is, you know that you're helping somebody else. And I try when I can not to donate to Goodwill, Salvation Army. Not that those aren't good causes, and not that donating to them is not a good thing. But I like donating to our YWCA because I know that the stuff, the store that they've set up, the people who go there are the ones who are getting helped by the YWCA for domestic violence or sexual assault, for different services. And they can actually go into the store and they can just pick stuff out. They don't have to pay for it. Or giving to the local mission where I know that it's just going to be given out to the person. That really does my heart good. I know Jimena once mentioned that her and her family were able to take stuff to the next town over and actually give it to the actual people who were, receiving it. Like they came up. And we don't really have anything like that here. But she's spoken about this, so I'm not speaking out of turn. Just about how wonderful it felt knowing that giving toys that her kids didn't need anymore and seeing the joy on those children's faces to have something that they otherwise probably would have never had. And the difference that it made for the kids to be able to see that. Our acts of kindness, and the more that we do them, they demonstrate to the people around us how to act as well. Like I said, witnessing acts of kindness make people more likely to pay it forward themselves. We model good behavior. We also model bad behavior. So what kind of model do we want to set? Carmela, you've been donating a lot with the move. I can imagine from the downsizing. I'm not sure if you're going to be moving at our next live or whether you'll already be moved into your place, but anxious to see how that goes for you. So please definitely let us know. Absolutely, buddy. Yep. Just a smile can be an act of kindness. 100%. Let me look at my cheat sheet again. So we've talked about donating. Um, oh, cleaning up litter. This is something I often do around. I live in a condo complex, and so we have a communal dumpster, and there's many around because the condo complex is quite large. And no matter how tight those things are, the raccoons seem to find a way in, and they have a penchant for being able to scatter litter throughout the complex. And then, of course, if it's during spring, summer, fall, when the lawns are being taken care of, that'll get blown around and chopped up and all those kinds of things. Hi, Tuber Chat. How you doing, Kevin? Glad to have you in. We are talking about the power of kindness here tonight. And so just, picking things up, or if I go on a walk, I try and have a plastic bag in my pocket to pick up any trash that, I may see along the way. One time there were so many kids out, and I was feeling a little bit lazy, but I also wanted to kind of encourage the kids as well. And so I gave them each a bag and I said, you need to go around our complexes wherever you can, whatever area you're safe to go at. Don't go outside the areas mom and dad said you can't go out of, right? For every bag you bring me back, I'll give you $1. Now, most of them weren't able to fill a whole dollar, and I probably had 10 kids doing it. But every one of them came back with at least a bag half full of some stuff, whether it was cans or papers or, whatever it was. And how much cleaner and nicer the area was. Those kids got a little something out of it. Even though they didn't know it, I bet they felt better because they were helping out with that. And then they got a little tip for it, a little spending cash. Hey, Chris, how's it going? Nice to see you tonight. Glad you're here. Hope all is going well. Oh, thanks for sharing this on Reddit, Tuber. Tuber's name is Kevin as well, so I'll call you Kevin instead of Tuber. Sounds kind of strange. Anybody else got some examples? Taking someone's coat out of politeness can be very helpful for the elderly. Yes. Or helping them out of their coat, wintertime, or helping them on with their coat. If you can afford it, paying for somebody else's meal or paying for that coffee or that gas, that person in line and ahead of you. Leaving an extra generous tip for somebody who, a server who has done a really great job. I do have a slight issue with the tip jars that have seemed to have shown up everywhere now. I mean, like literally everywhere where they wouldn't used to be. And I don't kind of understand why. I saw one at the gas station the other day, and there was a tip jar for the gas station cashiers. I don't know. I just have a little issue with this. And, part of me understands because although minimum wage has gotten better, inflation has also gotten higher and things are more expensive. And it's, a way for them to be able to make some extra cash. I'll tell you though, at some of these places, sorry, it's really dry in here since I had the heater on. At some of these places, I ask before I put anything in the tip jar, how is this split? Is this yours because you're on shift today? Do they split everything that comes in that day equally amongst everybody who works? Because I kind of want to know, how's the money getting divvied up? That makes a difference for me. Oh, let's see if I have any other bright ideas on here. Um, you know, somebody's power went out. You still have power. If it's been long enough, maybe if you have a spare freezer or a spare room in the fridge, maybe you can take some of their goods or buy ice and offer them a cooler if they don't have one to be able to save some of their contents. Because I don't know if you've ever lost a full fridge and freezer worth of stuff. I have. And how expensive it is to replace that. Wow. You just don't realize how much stuff that you have, how many kind of staples in your fridge that you need to replace until you, Carmel, I'm sure you will be doing this. You move and you have nothing to begin with, right? Say like college or your first apartment or something like that. Or you lose everything in that. Have a good one, Davey. Take care. So glad you were here. It's expensive. Somebody's going on vacation, you know, getting their mail. Some people still stop their mail. But if they're your neighbor, maybe you can grab the mail for them. Or if somebody has animals and they're going to be out of town for a day or two, instead of them having to board that animal, can you take care of that animal? Whether it's at your house or going over to somebody else's house and doing it for free. Within the family, giving to other people within our family, if somebody needed something and we had spare, was just second nature. That's just how we did it. And my second husband, I was amazed that we needed a spare freezer for a while. My husband wanted a spare fridge for out in the garage. I really didn't care. And his brother had one they'd been looking to get rid of. And instead of saying, "Hey, yeah, I got one I'm looking to get rid of. You can just have it." He's like, "Well, I'll sell it to you." I was so taken aback by that. I was like, when he got off the phone together, I was like, "What do you mean sell it?" He goes, "Well, yeah, that's what we do. We sell our stuff to each other." It's just like, wow. What are their plans while they're on vacation? Yeah. Just being neighborly, right? Oh, wow, Shell, that's amazing. Eating lunch in a fast food restaurant where a little old man was cleaning tables. Clearly, he needed the extra money as retirement wasn't enough. I tipped him. His eyes lit up and he was so grateful. That's wonderful. Sometimes if I'm out at a restaurant, I always try and make sure that my plates are in order, that I haven't left a huge mess on the table. Take a napkin and kind of sweep it all together and put it on the plate. And just those little extras that make the server's job a little easier. Sure, it's their job to clean up after you. But to me, there's a limit, right? If you're out with 5 kids and they've just made a total mess of the place, pick up a little bit. Doesn't take much extra. Take the shopping carts back. Or pull the shopping cart away from the car that it seems to be just butted up against. Have you ever noticed in one grocery store parking lot, there seems to be always one car that'll have a grocery cart right up against it? And you're like, why? Did somebody just miss? Or did they just like push their cart in the general direction of the cart return and not care where it landed? So, pulling that back. I know one store here that for every cart you return, you get a quarter. And it's a favorite of the smaller kids to be able to go there and, go out into the parking lot, and you'll see them sometimes with their parents, and the parents are pushing them. The kids are bringing the carts to them, and they'll be pushing 5 carts up or whatever. Just a small way to help out. Chris says he feeds his neighbor's pets when they're on vacation. That's wonderful. Yeah, it's like my parents being on vacation, instead of having to board their dogs for a week and a half, they live right down the road. So I'm going to go stay there at their house for a week and a half and take care of their 2 dogs. It saves them a ton of money. I'd never dream of charging them for it. Means my son's on his own for dinners, but he's old enough. He'll survive. Chris says, if you don't have the time to clean up, tell the restaurant sorry and give them a bigger tip. Yeah, absolutely. So you see, there are so many ways that cost little to no money to make ourselves feel good and to bring a little joy to somebody else as well. And not only joy, but that sense of being seen, that sense of being valued as a person, feeling like they're worthy of someone giving up their time for them. It can be absolutely, I won't say life-changing, but at least day-changing. And it certainly can change our moods. And then given the ripple effect, the fact that people who receive and people who watch acts of kindness are more likely to pay it forward. So the more we do, the more other people might do. But instead of thinking of it as a selfless act, doing kindness for others, think of it as a selfish act. Think about all of the mental and physical benefits that we ourselves as the givers get. I think if more people felt selfishly that way, we might have a lot more people giving. So that's all I have for you guys today. It's been an hour. I know it's a little shorter show than normal, but it was just something that really, really struck me today. And between that and the sunshine, it was able to kind of kick my bad mood. And I was just in a funk this week for a lot of different reasons. And I'm going to try really hard to get out tomorrow, even if it's just for a walk around the neighborhood with my plastic bag and pick up some litter. So I'm challenging each of you here and everyone who watches on replay to do one nice thing for somebody tomorrow, whether they know it or not. And let me know in the comments what that act of kindness is. Either what you do or what you plan on doing. If you haven't, guys, if you can like before you leave here today, I'd really appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't. Make sure you click the bell all for notifications. Otherwise, it's not going to automatically go to all. And share out this with anybody who you think needs to hear it today. I'd really appreciate it. With that, remember that you are worthy. You are valuable and you are loved just the way you are for who you are. Hugs and love from me. Mwah. We will see you on Saturday for bystander intervention, unless I have a different brilliant idea in the meantime. Surviving together, never alone. Good night, guys.
Through the fire, through the rain, we have walked through endless pain, but we stand, we rise again, stronger now, we break the chain, surviving together, hearts open wide, lifting each other through every tide. The past may have shaped us, but it won't define. Together we heal, together we shine. Every tear, every scar tells the story of who we are. Not just survivors, but warriors too. With love as our armor, we see this through. We see you, we hear you, and we believe in you. Surviving together, hearts open wide, lifting each other through every tide. The past may have shaped us, but it won't define. Together we heal, together we shine. We see you, we hear